Hi guys, today we're here at CMEC and we're going to be going over some bike maintenance. So we got our bikes here, so we got our bikes and we got our tools, and this is actually my old bike, but I got a new one this summer, so now this is my bike and that's my sister's bike. This tire was so flat, but now we got it nice and pumped up. And I'm gonna clean this chain off and maybe go through also check like I'm also gonna make a new video and we're gonna be going over if you're gonna go biking, what do you need, say, for like if you don't sorry, if you don't want to ride without a pack. So if I want to go biking without a backpack or a fanny pack on to carry all my stuff, what do I need on my bike? Let's do this. Right here. This was my old Cleary, and no, we are not sponsored, but this is this was my old bike, and honestly, look at that. It honestly was an absolutely amazing bike, but it's not been, since I kind of stopped riding it, it's not been taken the best care of. Also, we moved, new location, and my dad got a new bike. Tell me what you think this is in the comment section below. Tell me what bike you think this is. Got some Industry 9 hubs. And then my new bike. Guardrail stem cap. It's my Rocky Mountain. I've got RockShox Recon. We've got Bontrager. And we have a Dior Shimano, which actually, I think it's, So, same one, just newer. Internal cable routing. We have a RockShox Deluxe Select in the back. I got some new Maxxis tires on there. And should be good. We got some 1-Up pedals. And so let's tour the bikes. And we got our tools. Right here, right there. Got our pump, and should be a good video. Let's get started. All right, guys. So we're back, and we're gonna start. So we're starting on my sister's bike, which right here, and we're just gonna clean up the old drivetrain. So I can't tell you how many times I've cleaned this drivetrain, but it actually hasn't been cleaned in a while, and I should probably wash this bike because it is dirty. And let's get started. All right, so we got our brake oil. This is the brand we use, not anything specific, but you just take the oil cap off, and you don't need to put a lot on, just a bit. And one of the key things you need to do is pedal the bike while you're putting the oil on. Couple drips are good, and just pedal for a while. Shift gears. Shift up a couple. All right. There we go. All right. Now we're just gonna let that sit. And while we let it dry, we are going to go over shock maintenance. Woo! So as you can see, there's these little black there's this little black stuff on here, and that's it's not what you want on there. So simple thing you can do, like me and my dad just use one of his old white t-shirts, or if you have a dirty rag or whatever, it'll be fine. And you take it, just rub it all off, and then looking nice and shiny. There we go. Just clean it all up so it looks nice and shiny. And then go around the bearings at the bottom and just make sure you get all that nasty stuff off from there. And then we're gonna come around to the other side and do the same thing. Just a nice quick scrub it up dub. There we go. Yeah. So we're done with that. And pedal's looking good. Don't think we need to replace any pins on that guy. Ooh, I think I got stomped. Alright, so we got our pin back in. And now I think it's time that we wipe that chain. We start by wiping off, like I said, wipe off the chain, and then we're also gonna wipe off the cassette, I always forget what these are called, jockey wheels, and the front chain ring. So get those all nice and cleaned up. Now, as you can see, that all came off the chain, which means we have a dirty chain. Very dirty. Oh yeah. There's a good amount of stuff coming off there. Fix that. And front chain ring. Now these are just kind of like to do one of these because it's just a little faster. These also it's a lot easier to get these guys gunked up, and also it's a lot easier to get to, so I like to keep them clean. Not sure you could see that, so right there, just get these guys nice and scrubbed off is a good. All right, moving on to the next bike. Let's do this. All right, so we got the bike up on the stand, and there's not much because we already went through most of the main stuff on this. One tip is if you want to keep your bike from getting muddy, just part of it. My dad got a new bike, and you want to guard the down tube. This job, probably you're able to see it a little bit better up there, but like this stuff came with the bike, and so did this, but it just protects your frame from any rust. And then mud guard. This boy is dirty. It's a pretty common mud guard. You can probably find that at any store you'd like. Now these grips have been on this bike and on that bike, so they've been put through their test. Bar ends, just so you don't get crasampled like a potato. Stem cap, very cool stem cap. It's the Spash Bikes, I think that's their name. Then just a Rocky Mountain dropper post, internal cable routing. yeah, pretty good setup. Shimano brakes, and yeah, I just like this bike a lot. It's better. One, it fits me. This bike I was riding until about a couple months ago, and I'm 10 years old. I had that bike till I was like starting from like 6, so I rode it for 4 years straight with all that stuff. We're also going to be looking at compression. Yeah, so that's another thing that you want, and compression back here as well. There's 2 different settings on this one, so we'll also go over that. Let's do this. So, starting off with compression. I'm going to turn the handlebars right here so we can see a little better. And boom, we have our compression. So, as you can see here, we turn the compression this way, it locks it, so it doesn't go down like almost at all. But if we turn it this way, it goes down a lot more. It's not very good on camera, but I'm telling you, it goes down. And you can have it at whatever notch you'd like, and it'll do just fine. Alright guys, just got back from lunch. We made some yummy homemade pizza. Oh, yeah, it's good. But we're back, and now we're gonna continue looking at compression. So, yeah. You guys set up. Alright, so compression is a big thing in mountain biking. So let's say I'm going off a jump and I land, and my suspension's so hard that it bucks me over the bars. Not good. But also you want it to be able, so if I go off a jump and land and all my suspension bottoms out, what good is suspension if it bottoms out? So that's what compression is for. So say I want my front to be squishier than my back. I can change that using compression. Vice versa and whatever, but I'm going to show you guys how compression works. Just got to get my bike. All right. All right, so compression is, let's say, so I have the compression on my front suspension locked up, okay? This is what it does. So I say, pedal and I try to use it, nothing happens that much to the suspension. Let's take a closer look. Nothing much happens. But if I turn the compression all the way up to where there's almost no resistance, it pushes a lot more. You can also do this using, like, see, look at that, look at the difference. So you can also do that using spacers. You can attach them inside your fork, but my suspension is nice enough that I don't really have to do that. And for the rear, so I'm gonna leave this on squishy. On the rear, here I'm gonna grab you guys and show you. So, rear you have 2 adjustments. So from the side, it's right here. And so, right here, this is whether it's squishy or stiff, and you can have it halfway. This is stiff, and this is squishy. And this little red thing here controls how fast. So let's say you want your rebound, so how fast your like when it squishes, how fast it comes back. So let's say I have it like all the way turtled. Then that means I squish it, and it takes about 15 seconds for it to get back up to right here. But let's say I have it, hopefully you can see the rabbit on the other side. I'm not sure if you can. But if I turn it the other direction and squish it, that means it goes down and comes back up really fast, like seconds. Also, You can also adjust it, so depending on your weight, what you want for, at least for this suspension, is you want your ring when you get on and hop on it, or when you just get on, to be right there. If it's past, that means it's too squishy and you need to add air. If it's up here, that means you need to let air out. So I'm going to show you guys how the rear works. And I'll tell you which one I'm using. So for squishiness, I'll just call it squishiness. And for reach, I'll just call it shock. It squishes as much as I want it to. But I'm going to change it. And you want it to be stiffer going uphill, so your pedals don't get energy taken away from it just squishing. So this is what it looks like when it's stiffer. Hardly, like, a lot less squish. And now I'm going to turn it back to squishy, and you can see how fast it comes up. So now I'm going to turn it all the way slow. So it should come back in like 15 seconds. So, another bike, and so it's really slow. Okay, I'm gonna squish it down a lot. Here, I'm gonna scoot back a little bit. I squish it down. Watch how slow it comes up. Very slow. Like it's still not all the way up. Now it's all the way up. But if I have it turned to the jackrabbit speed, it comes back like just as much as it squishes down. So I usually have mine a little bit towards the halfway point, but not much. Like from the fastest you can go, probably 2 clicks is where I put mine. So that's the breakdown on compression and rebound. Now, my front suspension doesn't have rebound, but I mean, I don't really care because I like my suspension to come back fast because in Grand Junction, we have a lot of technical trails with a lot of rocks, and if your compression is slow, you hit a rock, but it doesn't absorb the next one because it's not all the way back up to the top. So I like that quick. So it's like, bam, it's back up in it, and then you hit it again, and you still have the same amount of cushion every time. Hello.
We're excited for her.
Yeah.
Plus, it's also just been sitting there for a long time. So.
Yeah. All right. So now we're gonna go over adding air to the shock. Now, adding air to the shock on this bike, it's the same, but it's good, and I don't want to mess with it. But my sister's bike, it still has air compression from when I was on it. So, yeah. Let's just get this cap off. There we go. So I won't lose it. And we'll grab our shock pump. Now, there's a difference between a shock pump, and a tire pump. Now you might think, well, what's the difference? I mean, they're both pumps. Well, there's a big difference. So a shock pump is made specifically for shocks. So right here, you can see it has our gauge, same as the other one, but the nozzle is different. This screws on. You don't screw on to, in this case, Presta, you don't screw on. Neither do you for Schrader. And basically, it's not the fastest way. And you have your bleep valve here, so it's a little button that you push, and it lets air out instead of getting air in. And you pump, and it basically gives it more air. So, just gonna... Hey, did you know? Tire pumps are an absolutely amazing way to film. Wow, how the heck did that work? Actually. Oh, let's go. All right. So, take our nozzle, screw it in till we hear the air rush in. Here, look at this pressure. The moment it bumps up, that means we've pressed a little. Yep, there we go. All right, so we are actually really low. So we probably want it shock pressure. So shock pressure, you want to be, I run it at about 100, but for my sister, we'll probably run it at like 75. So, I just need you to look right there, please. So, you have it. We're just gonna pump up the shock a little bit to do. So, right now we have it at like 50, but say it's like a little higher and you're like, oh shoot, my shock is really stiff, or I'm gonna go do this really technical trail that's like, it's not drops or it's gonna be big impacts, but it's a lot of tiny bumps and stuff. So I want it to be squishier. Use the bleep valve, and it just lets air out. Say that's where we want it, but for my sister, I want to have it up to like 75. Yeah, so right about there. Unscrew it, put the cap on, and we're all good. So that is shock pressure. All right, so that's the end of our video. And if you want to hear more content, subscribe, like the channel, and hopefully we'll see you guys again. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you later.